right, we are back. It's Hiccup and Solar once again. Excited to cast another NIU Overwatch match. Today, we're actually in the grand finals. They made it. They made it. And now, I guess the real question is, the coach. I forgot. Is it going to actually be the 4-0 that he spoke of last time we were here?
Well,
I'm not too certain with how the last match went in the
yeah,
3-1.
they didn't get the clean 3-0 last week in the semifinals against. Yeah, it was still good though. Like even though they did drop a map, it's that you always have the gentleman's sweep. That's always kind of what you go for. And so I do think that I don't think it'll be a 4-0, but I don't think it'll. If it goes to 7, that would be great for everybody that isn't the teams because we just get good Overwatch. But otherwise, I think
And
they'll
not
have a
just
good game.
that, it's not only the grand finals, but this is also the battle for Illinois right now too. We've got NIU, your Huskies, going up against the Wildcats over at Northwestern. So it's gonna be a doozy. This should be quite a fun game. They're from Iowa? The internet lied to me. What is this? Community college. I've been lied to so
Solar's been
much.
lied to.
This is
He's been
tragic.
bamboozled.
Okay,
But
just ignore me. It's not the battle for Illinois. NIU thinks they've got the power of the Pope on their side now. We'll see
it's the
what
battle for the
happens.
Midwest. How about
Battle
that? We'll
for the
take it
Midwest.
that
We'll
way.
go for it.
Um, it'll be interesting to see how things go. Northwestern, have they haven't been as dominant through the playoffs as NIU has because the Huskies have only dropped a map. It was in that last game that we saw last week in the semis. But other than that, they both made it here. Both teams, qualified for the playoffs by winning their division. Northwestern won their spring split in the East, and then NIU, obviously, as have talked about several times, just completely full swept their division in the fall, not dropping any maps. So that map they dropped last week is like the only map they've lost in the last like 8 months.
Yeah. And it was Oasis is the pick. Okay. So going into maps, this is going to be very interesting to see what we're actually going to see here. We've seen NIU really want to play these very aggressive styles and see them really pressure teams to where they don't feel they have any room to breathe. We saw a little bit of success from the side of who was it last time that we were here? I can't remember.
Here's
But
Maroon.
yeah, Grizz Maroon. They were able to play a hazard comp, and that threw a little bit of a wrench into NIU's plans. Kind of some aggression going back and forth between each of those. So it should be very interesting to see exactly how this is going to come across for Northwestern and how they handle that major aggressive style, especially when they run like Gooby on the Doomfist.
Yeah, and we do see Gooby is in the lineup for this first map. I'm pretty sure Gooby has played on control maps in their playoff matches, so I would
Yeah.
expect that we would at least see the Doomfist come out initially. Gooby has shown that he can go over to the Winston and a few other things, but primarily when Gooby is in, it is Doomfist at least once. And as you were talking about, Gris Maroon is the one that we saw have some success against the Doomfist with the Orisa comp, so maybe Northwestern will pull that out. So we'll see how this first map goes. But I feel like if Northwestern knows how things looked, which who knows how much insight they had coming into this game, because there is footage. We may have supplied it, but there is footage.
Yeah, there is footage. It is there. And so now the question is, what are they going to play into this? And it looks like we're actually going to be starting off on the city center. So a lot of times you like to see teams maybe run a lot of dive here. There's a very important high ground up on the top over there. There's a jump pad that is a little bit accessible, but takes a little bit of maneuvering to get to there. So it's really going to be who can take over this point. And even in pro play, we've seen this point stall out to the point where we see up to like 2-3 ultimates used before the first ticks are even gained on the point.
Yeah, and we see both teams currently going for a hyper aggressive dive. The only real difference is the Doomfist versus the Winston. I would expect Allegro will go over to Genji and Meek is going to go over to Tracer. So we will see just a full mirror all in. The only difference is going to be the tanks. So I would expect that they're going to probably try and catch out these Lucios if possible.
We'll have to see what they're going to do here. Gooby coming out on that Doom we talked about. We got a Sombra for Allegro. We've got Miki going to the Tracer, so full-on traditional dive here for the side of Northwestern. And then NIU looking to go with what we've seen them play, Allegro on this Sombra, Asti on the Tracer. This is going to be a little bit of a poke battle, waiting for that first initial find. Who's going to be out of position? Gooby's going to go in on to Meek, going to force that Tracer out, but no picks are going to fall from it just quite yet. And now it's just the battle of the circle. We're going to go round and round, much like the wheels on the bus, and who is going to fall off first? And now Effort diving in, falling very low. Allegro going to get taken out there, and Effort going to fall. The tank for the side of Northwestern, that is going to be difficult to come back from. But as I say that, Northwestern wants to hold on to this point and keep pressuring this out, and they are doing quite a good job. But Flip Flop and Gooby are going to find the DPS, and that's going to be first fight win here for Northwestern.
Yeah, it looked like Effort kind of just
NIU.
Effort kind of just went in. I don't know if there was a miscommunication with the rest of the team, but they were just caught way out and was super easy to get picked off by Gooby.
You have to be very careful where you're going to approach with this Doomfist. He can cause a lot of havoc, and that's exactly what they want to do. The pressure is on, like we've seen multiple times. Allegro's gonna fall. Somehow Gooby's gonna find two, so that Sombra missing may not affect them too much. I'm not quite sure what happened there to Allegro. He's going to fall.
Allegro wasn't really watching where he was backing up to, and did back up right into traffic.
Oh no, not traffic. Oh, it's tragic, but we see the aggression that NIU loves to put out. They are not letting them get past this first little hallway here, and this can be extremely difficult to break through, especially against this Doomfist here, and we'll see how the side of Northwestern decides to approach that. Pulse Bomb's out. It's not going to find anything. Able to get away. Asti going to throw out a Pulse Bomb. Nothing found there as well. Allegro and Flip Flop going to find two. Effort and Amio going to fall. And now the side of Northwestern, they're kind of all over the place. They have to find a way to stabilize into all this aggression here.
Yeah, they have trouble finding out how they actually want to engage, and then they just take so much time that the Huskies do what we've seen them do all playoffs and just go aggressive, just like this at the spawn doors.
Oh my goodness, the EMP is out. The beat is there, but it's not soon enough for Amino. Amino is going to fall. Meek has to back up into the room. Their tank is stuck trying to get the frog DJ on the ceiling, not able to do so. And there is so much pressure here. They're not even letting them get up to this choke right now. The fallback is going to happen here. Somehow, some way, Flip Flop is going to make it back out with that teleport there. Blade is going to be pulled by Ubel. They're going to have to find something. They're not able to, and this is looking disastrous for the side of Northwestern here, as the side of NIU going to take this first point of Oasis 100-0.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we haven't. This isn't anything. This is exactly what we've seen for every other map. Every map that we have seen from Northern Illinois is just hyper aggression. That's what they do. They push to the spawn door if they can. They use ults while you're still trying to figure out how to get in. So now we're seeing Northwestern potentially move over now to a more rush style. We see Effort going over to the Ram. Ubel's on the May. This may be, I would assume they just don't think that they have any hope of beating him in the dive mirror. So they have to really stick together, though, because we've seen a few other teams try and come out with this rush style, and it just doesn't work. They get someone caught out, whether it's the BAP, the CAS, someone just gets caught out with a hack or with a big punch, and the rest of NIU just comes in and takes them out.
I do like the idea of Meek on the CAS and May on this Ubel on the May, excuse me. It can kind of solidify what's happening there. The Allegro are going to get taken down. Meek going to fall as well, so a 1-for-1 trade there. But this fight is happening so far into this backline over here. Amino finally going... I mean, NIU is completely flipped. They are on Northwestern's side right now. Amino going to fall, not able to handle that Doom Tracer dive in there. And what was supposed to be a more stable composition is falling apart quite quickly here for Northwestern, as NIU is going to get the first points onto this section here. And now the question is, are they going to be able to break through? I'm not sure they are. A lamp is going to be put out there by Amino, but it's not going to be enough effort going to fall. And it's just going to be Ubel's there, Amino, and Vecchiano going to fall. And this is just, I mean, classic NIU gameplay right now.
Yeah, I think Northwestern are gonna have a difficulty trying to run anyone down because all of NIU is able to get away from the rush. So all Northwestern can do is just kind of sit there and let NIU come to them because they can't run anyone down themselves.
They can't run anybody down themselves. And now they also seem to be split. The dive comes in from NIU, but Effort wanted to push forward. There's maybe a little bit of a miscommunication there on how they're wanting to push this. And now the Huskies are taking advantage. Allegro is going to fall, but that's not going to be a big enough pick to break through this stronghold that is the Huskies right now.
Luckily, they were able to get a pick, so NIU did back off a little bit, and they do have a man advantage at the time, but they're at a massive ult disadvantage.
Massive ult disadvantage, and there's two already from NIU. The Kitsune Rush, the Doom Ultimate, they come down. Osti going to find Meek as well, and that is going to be great picks here for the side of NIU. Effort going to fall, not enough there, and they're being punched back into spawn. And this is a true spawn hold, something that you don't see. Oh my goodness, Meek flips around the corner and takes Osti out. They are now up by one player. They may have the advantage here, but the side of NIU is gonna jump in. The punch, the kunai flip-flop gonna take down Meek. Vecchiano going to be taken out by Gooby as well as they try to get to the point. Effort struggling, trying to get there, putting in the elbow grease, is going to touch the point. No, I don't think he got there. Taken out by Allegro right at the end. The solo man beat gets booped away, and that's gonna be 100-0 twice in a row there. NIU takes the first map in convincing fashion, and maybe I forgot, maybe onto something with this idea of a 4-0 finals.
Yeah, Northwestern the entire time just seemed just lost. Every time they would go in, we saw it multiple times, Effort would kind of just go in quickly and trying to run someone down while the rest of their team gets run down by the Huskies in the back line. We saw that a few times. They just seem a little disorganized, and when you're playing against this kind of Doom dive comp that takes advantage of a player or two being separated from the team, especially when you're playing a comp that you want to be sticking together. If anyone gets split off, none of those characters, other than maybe the May, are able to even hold their own against a 2 or 3 person dive coming on top of them. And Northwestern just couldn't go anywhere. They just kept getting caught out because someone went too far forward or someone stayed too far back, and NIU just took advantage of it every single time.
Yeah, and if you're on the side of Northwestern, and maybe hopefully we talked a little bit about it at the top before the match started, but maybe you look back and you see what worked against Gooby in this hyper aggressiveness here. We saw an Orisa work from time to time, although it was a little bit harder on those control maps when you lost point control, able to get back in. But I think really the hazard comps that we saw from Grizz Maroon last week put a big dent, and they really had NIU had to adjust how they were playing, and those maps ended up being extremely close. So if you're Northwestern, yeah, maybe you didn't feel comfortable going in with these traditional dives with the Winston, the Tracer, the Genji. Maybe you need to go something that can equal out the aggression, have a little bit more staying power in the hazard, as opposed to the Winston who jumps in and just kind of hopes that his DPS can help him finish off things.
Yeah, I would say that it may be smart of them to potentially try a map where dive is a little less strong. Northwestern has picked to go to Escort, so NIU will obviously get a map ban from that pool, and then Northwestern will get to pick from the remaining maps. I wouldn't be surprised if we see NIU potentially try and ban away something like a Circuit Royale or a Junkertown to try and corner, and NIU bans Junkertown. So it makes sense, because if they can ban away those maps that might potentially force them onto something a little less comfortable, then Northwestern only can pick those maps that go with them. So now that Junkertown is out of the pool, Northwestern, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Circuit Royale get picked, which it looks like that is the map pick that we're going to go into. We did see I think it was William and Mary took NIU to Circuit Royale, and NIU played the Sigma a little bit, but they also weren't afraid to just play dive. And we see that a little bit in the past in the pro scene, where there's not a lot of Sigma sometimes. If a team likes playing dive and they feel comfortable on it, they'll play it. And you will typically see it with a Sojourn. And even though Freya has been a very mainstay in the pros thus far, Freya is not allowed in the playoffs right now. So it'll be interesting to see if we see anyone try any other snipers or if we just see a lot of Sojourn.
We have seen Meek kind of go towards these more pure hit scan characters thus far in the casts. I can't remember what they started on Tracer as well, if I do recall. So it's going to be very interesting to see exactly what hero they're wanting to play. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Widow come out, at least to like, the classic, you're sitting in spawn and somebody's like, I'm just gonna try for a pick. If I get it, then I'm gonna stay. If I don't, I'm swapping. We are, speaking of swapping, we are going to see Gooby come out. So no Doomfist this time, and we are gonna see PK0 for the Huskies come in. And we have seen PK0 play a plethora of tanks. Can't even remember all the ones he's played. A lot of Diva in the past couple of matches. Seen some Winston. I do know he loves picking up that Ram as well. So it'll be very interesting to see what they decide to go with. If I had to guess, I mean, safe bet, Circuit Royale, you kind of go out and start on the Sigma a lot of times, even though, quote unquote, there's not any Sigma maps anymore.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see PK0 come out on the Sig and then swap. So we'll see what things look at as we go into Circuit Royale. If teams choose to do the poke mirror, or if we see NIU potentially just do something like a rush or like a dive, if we've seen when last time they played on Circuit Royale.
Yeah, and I think we are ready to go. It will be a very exciting map here to get into. I mean, the aggression can still happen on this map, but Hiccup and I both were on a team at one point, and we did have a very close hold on Circuit Royale one time, but they're very few and far between, not something you see a lot of. So it'll be interesting to see what NIU decides to do on this defense.
Yeah, with them on the defense, they'll obviously get their say in how things go. So as we get in the map, we'll see what they choose to come out on. We didn't see NIU swap. If, as far as I recall, it was a while ago when they played Circuit Royale against William and Mary. But we saw them come out on the Sigmir, but then we saw them swap over to a Ram and over to a Winston, I believe, before. But obviously, Northwestern, we don't know we don't know the full extent of Effort's hero pool. We saw them play some Winston and we saw them play some Ram. So that would suggest, though, maybe they, have a preference for the main tanks. But that could also not mean a whole lot. They may have a Sigma in their pool. The only way to find out is to just see what they're forced into. Northwestern obviously has more freedom in what they choose to come out on because they can swap up a little more. So NIU does have the bit more pressure of establishing what they want to do.
And we've seen a lot of NIU games. We haven't seen a lot of Northwestern play up to this point, as obviously this is the first meeting for these two teams right now. But for myself, I think one of the most terrifying things that can happen on Circuit Royale in general is a Junkrat flying over the top of the building, landing on you on the bridge when you're playing on it or something, and you just get whacked out of nowhere. Shout out to Lawn Flamingo. It's happened one too many times that she's gotten me with that, so big shout out there. But we are into the map, Circuit Royale. It is a sniper's paradise here, and the question is, how many of those snipers will we see here?
Yeah, we have seen Asti and Allegro play their Widow and their Hanzo. They don't typically stay on it for the whole map, but we have seen them play it a few times. But yeah, UL and Meek, who knows if they choose to come out. They're currently hovering over the snipers. We see NIU, though, opting to go for a Ram comp, obviously without a BAP. They're doing the Lucio Kiri version of it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they try to hold a little close, because typically if you're playing this May comp, you're not going to sit on this back bridge. It's just not, you're not getting the full value with the May. But we saw them bunker up, or we saw teams try and bunker up in this front room with the May, and it looks like that is what the Huskies are going to opt to do, is just try and hold the cart on this corner for as long as possible, because a Sigma comp doesn't do very well when there's a rush comp in his face and a May wall behind him.
Yeah, maybe taking a page out of Grizz Maroon's book when they tried to hold him here in the last match, but we'll see what happens here. The Ram versus the Sigma. This is going into round 2, map 2. Let's see how these teams shape out. And yeah, they're not going to bunker in this room, kind of like what we saw Grizz Maroon do previously. They're going to hold this corner, which is where PK0 can kind of thrive at. Just holding this corner, denying some space, but there's going to be a lot of poke potential and pressure being put down from effort here, as that Ram shield isn't up for very long a lot of times. It's going to have to be hyper aggressive here, going to try to get the punches, not able to find anything, and I think Vacano on this Zen is going to provide a lot of damage with this Discord Orb that NIU is going to have to be very careful of. And we can see they're playing so passive. Allegro gets taken out. This is not the NIU that we typically see. They're being forced back, and maybe this poke composition is exactly what Northwestern needed to break open this match.
Yeah, the sidelines were just favoring Northwestern there on the side because NIU only had so many places they could hide, whereas Northwestern could just back around the corner. There isn't a whole lot that PK0 can do if he has to hold space. If as soon as he gets pressured, he has to back, because once that ram form comes out, but they're going in now with a Kitsune Rush.
Yeah, the Kitsune Rush is going to press it just a little bit. Meek is going to take out his partner in Allegro there. That's going to be a quick fight win, and we're going to be back up to this corner once again. And when we're talking about these, oh my goodness, Effort wants to throw out that Flux, only going to catch the Mei, who does have that ice block, so able to survive that. And now the fight is going to be back on. The side of Northwestern does have a lot more pressure from range here. Osti does have the icicles, but they're very difficult to get a handle onto, and it's really just up to Allegro to handle it. Meek, though, going to use that amplification matrix from Amino, who gave their life for it. Meek gonna find not one, but two. Effort gonna take out another. It's just Allegro on the high ground. The Zen gets pressured. The trance is going to have to be used. Allegro and Flip-Flop on this high ground are causing havoc. All the meanwhile, Effort is pushing the cart. Has to come back because Flip-Flop is gonna find the Hanzo. It's a two-man wrecking crew here for the Huskies, and now the Kiri is gonna be able to TP out, and we're gonna be in a 4v4 fight in what was one of the more wild trades that I've seen in a hot minute here.
Yeah, and now Northwestern are just gonna get forced back as they try to take the space.
Meek is going to pop the overclock to try to get a pick. Hayes is going to get taken down. PK0, that Annihilation, going to go to a little bit of a waste. It bought space and time, but now they are down another player, and this is where Northwestern can take advantage. But there's another Kitsune Rush from Flip-Flop. They're building these things so fast. Effort not able to do anything against the punches of Ramatra, as PK0 and the rest of the Huskies are coming back. And what has looked like really good openings here for the Wildcats, and they've just kind of fallen flat on their face when it comes down to these ending out fights.
Yeah, every single time Northwestern feels like they have an advantage, they just get caught off guard by another ult or just by the aggression. 2 fights ago, we saw them pop the window, and NIU went, I don't think so, and just ran into them rather than running away. And then there, we just see him pop a Kitsune Rush and run at their face again.
Yeah, and Allegro is going to get help from Flip-Flop to take out Meek on the high ground, and now that range pressure is really just down to nobody, because Uble has gone over to the Mei to mirror this. A Blizzard comes out here from Osti, and everything is falling apart for the Wildcats. There were so many moments there where it looked like they could take the advantage, but I think you really have to look at Flip-Flop and Allegro here, holding down the space. The BAP is going to try to jump over, and then Lucio going to try to touch, not able to get there. Meek is going to get the touch on the Tracer, but this is desperation time. The Flux is out from the side of Effort. We'll see if he finds anything. I'm not sure if he actually picked anyone up, but in the meantime, PK0 is just throwing punches, ready for that Street Fighter collab, and that is going to be where the cart stops. 81.4 meters is all that the Huskies have to conquer here. And let's be honest, with the amount of aggression and how we've seen them play, it's looking pretty possible.
Yeah, every single time that Northwestern tried to turn the corner, they just got caught off guard. Even though they had what seemed like a pseudo-1 fight, they just forgot about Flip-Flop and Allegro in the back line, who took out a player or two. And even though they had won the previous fight, numbers-wise, they came into the next fight down a person. And from that point, the snowballs that came from the ults, they weren't ever able to regain the space that they had gained to start things off.
And this is kind of what I thought was going to happen. Effort and the side of Northwestern are coming out on this brawl comp. What was mirrored on the defense last time. I don't think that they're going to be ready for the entire comp swap that we see on the side of NIU here. Now, we know Flip Flop loves to tease this Life Weaver, but don't get too excited, all you Life Protects Life fans. I don't think we're going to see him.
I don't know. Maybe this is the moment that maybe this is finally her moment.
This is her moment.
Are you going to crush her hopes and dreams before the round even starts?
As a known Life Weaver hater, I will.
Well,
and there's the Kiri, so it's gone. Sorry, everyone.
That's unfortunate. I mean, they're just going full on dive here. It's going to be interesting to see how Northwestern are able to hold this, because they can just run right past Effort if they want to.
Yeah, Effort, he does have that E, but it's not going to be a whole lot. Hayes is going to get taken out. I mean, that's a good pick, but it's just a Lucio, you can say, at the same time. So there's not a lot going on there. Allegro is on the high ground, not able to find a pick. Osti is going to fall as well. And maybe a little bit of decision turmoil here for the side of NIU. They don't really know who to jump. They're kind of playing a brawl on this corner, which is not what their comp succeeds at. And there it is. They're trying to jump to the bat. PK0 going to miss it. And now the convergence, the peel effort trying to take him down. But the rest and the support from Flip Flop and Hayes is going to keep PK0 up. Osti falling very low, but is going to be able to survive. Meek gets taken out by the kunai, and Flip Flop has been a menace on this map here so far.
Yeah, Meek didn't get the memo and didn't move, and this sightline, Northwestern are stuck around this corner because of Allegro.
Oh, a nice icicle there from Ubals is going to take out Allegro, but now your tank is gone. PK0 falls dangerously low, but they are able to keep him up somehow. Falls immediately. The windows pop. Meek is going to find two. Somehow, someway, Northwestern has stabilized what looked like disaster.
It has been interesting in how the Huskies are approaching this, and that they're not, other than the one dive from PK0, have kind of just been pressing W and not actually going to the backline. They're almost trying to play this Winston comp like a rush without, you know, what you would typically see in a Winston rush of a Reaper and a Sojourn.
And now the sights are out for Allegro. They know exactly where the Wildcats are, and they are playing these sightlines to avoid getting taken out by this Widow. But now here comes the dive convergence. Osti and PK0 are set up for it. Effort has to use that form early there to try to sustain a little bit of damage. That Annihilation's almost up. He's going to need to get that up. A good lamp is going to keep him alive. PK0 is going to have his ultimate as well here. Allegro going to find Meek. That's not what you want to see. There is the Annihilation, but is it enough here? The beat gonna get thrown out as well from both teams. Amino didn't get the beat though on the side of Northwestern, and now everything is falling apart. The Blizzard is gonna get, oh, it does get out. I thought it got canceled. PK0 gonna get frozen, but Allegro on the high ground is gonna take out the Ramatra. There's the overclock from Meek. It may be desperation time unless they can go sicko mode. They cannot. And it looked a little bit better there for Northwestern, but in the end, the Huskies are going to go up 2-0 in these finals.
Yeah, it seemed like both of those moments, as soon as NIU got aggressive, Meek got caught out in the back line. Both times, whether it was because they just didn't rotate in time or they slid the wrong way, it was a super easy pick for NIU to just take out. And when you take the Sojourn out of the other side, that's a lot of the damage just taken off the table. And that's one less thing they have to worry about navigating around. And I don't know if it's just, I mean, we've seen now in both maps, people keep getting caught out on the side of the Red Raiders, whether that's because they just don't rotate in time or there's just a miscommunication on when they want to rotate. In map 1, we were seeing Effort go hyper-aggressive or not aggressive enough, and the rest of the team getting caught out. And in that time, we were seeing Meek getting caught out by just getting super separated. And the last thing you want to do against a dive comp is put yourself in a situation where you're alone, because it is really easy for the dive comp to come after you. Much easier it is for your team that is playing a rush comp of some kind to get to you instead and provide the fuel they need. I would love to see Northwestern try and work on that. That seems to be a major issue. Now, obviously, as we go into push, the maps aren't as large, so to speak. I mean, compared to Circuit Royale, Your sightlines are looking fine, but that didn't seem to change how things went on Oasis. So I don't know. They do show a propensity to want to play a rush comp of some kind. So I wouldn't be surprised to see if we went to a new Queen Street. However, NIU every single time, as far as I recall, have banned new Queen Street, and so that hasn't been what's. We haven't seen new Queen Street, but I would say that is, if I was Northwestern, that's where I would want to go. But I think NIU knows that.
Yeah, they probably do. NIU does not want to play on New Queen Street. I don't know if it's the snow, the ice.
They just banned it again.
Yeah, they just banned it again. So maybe it's just a hatred for Canada in general. I mean, they're kind of up there. They're maybe bordering them a little bit almost. So they just want to stay away from the north as far as possible. We are also going to see a substitution here. Asti going to be coming out, and we're going to see Plazimoto coming in. And that tells me they want to play some Pharah.
I am surprised. Oh, okay, well, Esperanza just got picked. I was surprised that they had brought in Plazimoto before the map pick came through, because I feel like you're showing your hand that if you sub Plazimoto and that tells the other team, oh, we're going to play Pharah. But Northwestern picked Esperanza anyway. And this is where we saw the Doomfist Pharah comp come out last week. And it was executed to great success.
PK0 is still in, though, so we're not... I don't think we've seen the PK0 Doom yet.
No,
so,
I think we probably will just see Winston then.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be Winston, which is fine. I'm surprised if New Queen Street gets pulled out. I'm surprised we just didn't see a Coliseo pick here.
We saw a Coliseo pulled out against them last week, and it kind of worked. I mean, we saw Grismaroon almost take. We saw Grismaroon take NIU to the distance. It was a matter of 3 meters with the Orisa comp specifically. Although we saw them pull out some Wrecking Ball as well, but
that's right.
We saw Esperanza play. It was not a very close match. We saw Gooby in, and we saw Doomfist Pharah. This is, I would assume, still a dive comp. I mean, you don't play Pharah with anything but a dive comp, and because PK0 is still in, I would assume we'll probably see Winston. We could also see D.Va.
Yeah, we did see a lot of D.Va last time. Being told I need to apologize. I was still on this whole Northwestern thing. They're not the Wildcats. I don't know what they are. But they're not the Wildcats. They're the Red Raiders. The Red Raiders.
A Texas Tech equivalent.
There it is. All right. The Red Raiders. My apologies to all you Northwestern fans out there. My bad. Internet
okay, so
lied
we do see a Winston mirror. Now, we saw this when William and Mary played against them early on in the playoffs. We saw the Winston mirror come out. It didn't obviously go the way of William and Mary. It wasn't particularly close. There was some back and forth. It's this Plazimoto Pharah and Hayes on the Mercy. The pharmacy in the air is something that you don't really get to scrim against a pharmacy. It's not a very common thing you see. And so you either have to know it's coming and try and prep countermeasures, or you just get caught off guard by it.
And we'll see which of that is going to happen to the Red Raiders here as we get started. Allegro going to spot out the Winston, get a hack. Not going to really do much. They're just gathering information here at the beginning of push while the bot is locked. Effort taking enormous amounts of damage, though, giving a lot of ult charge to his support. So PK0 going to go in on the dive, and there it is. Plazimoto following up perfectly in sync with their Winston counterpart there. And now the rest of Northwestern having a rough time. They're just going to have to retreat, get taken out at the same time, and yeah, I think it's safe to say they were caught off guard by the Pharah.
They're comp innately off the rip. Meek is the only one that can really regularly pressure this Pharah. The rest of the Red Raiders, there's nothing that they can do. Plazimoto and Hayes are just free-flying in the skybox, and no one on the side of Northwestern can really do anything to them as the comps stand now.
The semifinals
they can do to them, and the bot, all the meanwhile, is going to move all the way to the checkpoint as Northwestern is looking to set up this dive. Effort's going to jump in what seems like all by himself and gets taken out by Allegro. maybe miscommunication. Their effort wanted to go in, the rest of the team not ready, or it's a reset and he is going to go to the D.Va, which makes sense against Safara.
Yeah, I think this D.Va is going to give them a little bit more mitigation than what they had. It's still going to be kind of difficult because trying to take down a pharmacy without a hit scan to give some final blows is going to be hard. So Meek is going to have to really rely on these railguns, if anything, to try and just take Quasimodo and or Haze out before too much damage can be done.
Yeah, Quasimodo going to take out Ubels, and that flank didn't work out. And now the rest of Northwestern's getting rocked while Meek went on a flank to try to get behind the Sfara. But it's all a little too late. Meek now on the point trying to contest it while the rest of his team is forced back into spawn, and now he joins them. And this is looking absolutely dominant here from the Huskies.
The only ult that Northwestern have is this Kitsune Rush from Omeno coming out. Against that, though, NIU a war chest of 4 ults about to just be able to throw at the face of the Red Raiders.
Yeah, there is the Valkyrie going to be popped. Amino going to take out Flip-Flop. Finally, we see Flip-Flop punished for these aggressive stances that they're taking, but it may not be enough. Meek going over to this Echo, gets the beam onto the Pharah. I do like the Echo against the Pharah play here, but it may not be enough. The EMP comes out from Allegro. Beat from Vacano's going to be just for himself. The barrier doesn't allow that beat to go any further forward here. And Northwestern, they just seem lost. They don't have any answer to anything that the side of NIU is doing. And now they're just walking out one by one after another. Red fish, blue fish. Make this a Dr. Seuss book, because it's over in about as much time as it would take to read a Dr. Seuss book. NIU takes it and goes up 3-0.
That was a 3-minute Esperanza. It looked like it looked at the tail end there that Northwestern were starting as soon as Meek came out on that Echo and were able to pressure Quasimodo out of the sky. It looked like they were starting to win the fight, but then the EMP came out from Allegro and the Valk from Haze, and it just, Northwestern, the few people that were even there just fell over. All of the focus fire just vanished. Maybe they didn't expect those ults to come out, the sound barrier.
All right.
I mean, the EMP specifically to come out. And then obviously, Vakanko came out and did a solo sound barrier. The bubble from PK0 blocked the LOS from the other players on Northwestern. Things just fell apart. What looked to be them getting back in the map and be able to start what would have been a really hard comeback, but at least would have given them a chance, just got out of control and they just fell over.
And on the topic of comebacks, we got to take a look at it. We're in match point. NIU is one map away from taking the finals here. And now, if you're on the side of Northwestern, you're looking at what is arguably would be an insane comeback story here. A reverse sweep. They have to win 4 maps in a row. And I mean, when you're in a position like you are for the Red Raiders right now, your mental can just be absolutely spent when you get demolished like that on push. I don't think I've ever seen a push map go that fast.
I mean, I've seen it a few times. It's a difficult spot to be in because not only did they get, I mean, there's no other way you can put it, just raffle stomped on Esperanza. Not only does that happen, but now you're down 0-3, and the map type that you have to try and start your comeback on is arguably the least favorable map type in a pick ban system for maps, where there's only 2 maps. So NIU effectively gets the map pick because they just ban the other one. So it's not an ideal spot to be in. If it was one other game mode, then they might be able to have maybe a pocket pick of some kind of comp that they worked on. But when you go into Flashpoint, when you only have New Junk City and Suravasa, and winner gets to ban one of the maps, Northwestern does the map choice is out of their hands. They don't get to choose where we're going. So they are going to have to win pretty much just 4 maps in a row that aren't their own pick, even though they get the map pick this map.
Yeah, and it looks like they are going to go to Suravasa. That seems to be the favorite amongst everyone. Every level, everywhere. Everybody.
Couldn't tell you the last time I saw New Junk City.
New Junk City is a rare sight to behold most of the time, but I think they announced there's another push map coming next season, right? So
another Flashpoint map, yes.
Yeah, Flashpoint. Excuse me. Yeah, Flashpoint. Yeah.
We'll get a third. We'll get a third map.
We'll get a third one, and then you can actually choose.
then you can actually choose. I would expect to see a rush mirror
illusion
of
of
some
choice.
kind. You don't see a ton of dive. I mean, you see it a little bit. Gooby is back in though, so
Frosty is as well. Yeah.
I do think we will probably see Doomfist come out from Gooby. Now, this is if you are Northwestern, if you've been able to pay attention and watch any kind of film on NIU from their last couple maps, you would know that if there was a time to be able to effectively play a comp against the Doomfist, this is where you pull out the Orisa or you pull out the Hazard. Because a lot of these points are a lot more tight-knit. It makes it a lot easier for an Orisa to enter. I would love to see Effort try something new because the Winston wasn't working. The Sig mirror didn't go their way. The Ram hasn't been I would love to see them try and pull something new out. And I would love to see an Orisa come out. They've got to know that Gooby is in. We're going to see Doomfist most likely.
And there it is, right? It's exactly what we saw before. Don't let your eyes deceive you. Hayes is going to play the Lucio. Flip-flop is going to go to the Curie. If I'll eat a shoe if that doesn't happen. I don't know. We've seen it. We've seen it happen time after time. Flip-flop teases us with this Weaver pick. There it is. Look at that. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. There it is, the swap over.
So we're seeing essentially what we saw on Oasis University, this Ram comp into the Doom comp, and if Northwestern doesn't change how they played on that point, we're going to see very similar results. Someone's going to get caught out.
Somebody's going to get caught out. They have to keep track of all of these dive heroes, and that is extremely difficult. Flip-flop and Hayes are just chilling on this high ground, waiting for the engage. Gooby going to get the punch, but nothing's going to happen quite yet. Ubel, though, the Icicle going to find the Lucio, and now the side of NIU is trying to go aggressive, but Ubel's the May going crazy. Meek going to find a pick as well. And this may be the first time we've seen a large, big start here for the Red Raiders.
Yeah, I guess Hayes was just kind of poking at angles she shouldn't have, and Ubel throwing in the alternate fire and taking their head off with an Icicle. Now we have to see how the Huskies choose to engage on this and who they choose to go after. It looks like the Baptiste is the first target.
Yeah, Amino, but is able to survive for the time being. Lamp comes out, and in the meantime, Meek is clicking heads. The Cowboy is finding the picks, but Allegro, eventually, Amino does fall. It's just the Lucio pumping out those great sound waves to heal up the team. Flip-flop does get caught out, so a little bit of a stagger there, and that will allow the teams to re-even up as we get close to this first point being taken over here by the Red Raiders.
I think the target focus onto Amino in the backline on the BAP is a good choice. You want to get that Immortality field out, but the problem is you have to jump on that BAP as soon as he's hacked.
Yeah, they go straight for Vacano there. Hayes is going to fall as well, and if I'm being honest, this looks like a completely different Red Raiders team. The High Noon going to come out, but Gooby is going to just punch that. It's not going to avail much. And it's a 3v3 on point here. About to be a 3v4. Ubels is going to fall. So a great start here for the Red Raiders. The problem is they held on to the point. They got to 99, but are they going to be able to break through what is now 4 ultimates for the side of the Huskies?
It's going to be difficult because we're going to see NIU set up in a way that they're able to catch the walk-in. They're not just... Oh, and they're staggering Amino out.
Oh... No, that's so sad.
And that's a lot of extra percentage. But you're right. These 4 ults for the Huskies are going to make it really difficult for Northwestern to push in. And because of how Flashpoint works, they don't have a lot of time. If they take their time to push in and get rolled by the ults, they're not going to get another fight. But it looks like they're taking the fight to the Red Raiders.
Yeah, and Allegro is going to come around the back here. They may invest this EMP if it's called for. Let's see if they decide to go for it. There it is. The EMP finds 3, and that's going to be enough with the Meteor Strike there from Gooby, finding 2. And again, we've talked about it time after time when we're looking at the teams going up against the Huskies. They do well when they have the point, but when they're trying to break through this aggression, it's just too hard to break. And now the aggression has been brought right to their doorstep. I'm not sure anybody can touch. Hayes is going to get taken out in the meantime. Oh, Vacano gets the sound barrier. Doesn't touch point. Oh, no. Oh.
Not only do they lose the point, they also invest the sound barrier. So now, I mean, you now have an unmitigated Kitsune Rush and Sound Barrier combo. Amino has, I mean, Northwestern has the ult advantage as it stands right now, but they have to take advantage of it because if they wait too long, Hayes is going to have this Sound Barrier and it's going to help negate a few things. I just hope that Northwestern doesn't invest all 4 of their ults in this fight. Regardless if they win or lose, you don't want to trade 4 ults for 3.
You do not. Pulse Bomb is brought out. Osti doesn't find anything with it. And now the Kitsune Rush, the High Noon, the Annihilation, all of the Qs are being pressed. Gooby's going to find a Menno. Effort going to take out Flip-Flop. And now Vacano gone as well. No supports for the side of the Red Raiders. But Meek is going to find Gooby. Effort and Ubels on the point. Osti is back. The Sombra is going to be what they have to deal with. Meek takes out Osti. Effort taking out the Sombra, and they survive. They have the point again. But we saw last time, having the point first doesn't mean you're going to win it.
No, and luckily for them, they do have a Blizzard and they have this amplification matrix, but they need to be careful. If they, for some reason, stack these and Allegro hits an EMP, both of them are just going to be for naught.
Yeah, as a friendly reminder, Blizzard gets canceled by EMP. Remember that, Sombra players, if you can ever play her. Fight is going to break out on the point. Meteor Strike going to come down. Blizzard going to be thrown out as well. Ubels is going to survive, but it's just going to zone everybody off the point. EMP's only going to catch Vacano, but they do take him out. Gooby going to fall. So this is trades back and forth. Flip-Flop going to take it out as well. Ubels is going to fall. Effort is going to be next. And about 75% here for the side of the Red Raiders. Let's see if they can actually break into a point this time.
Now, luckily, they did get the ults out of NIU, so that EMP was used. Amino still has this amplification matrix, and Meek is coming up on the Deadeye. But those are 2 harder ults to use against the dive comp, because the dive comp can just run away.
Yep, you just run away. They are going to try to rotate. They are split a little bit, and that's exactly what we've seen the problem be every single time. Ubels wanted to go right very quickly. Everybody else kind of stayed back. That allowed them to jump in. There wasn't a Mei to deter them at all, and the aggression continues here for NIU.
Once again, they're just catching him early on the choke. They're not giving Northwestern any room to operate. As soon as they walk through this choke, they're getting jumped on. It looks like it's going to happen again.
There are different ways to get to the point, Northwestern.
Well, it looks like they're taking it.
Okay, let's go. We've found a new path. That is a great move there. Osti throwing out the Pulse Bomb, not able to find anything, but does take Meek down otherwise. Meek going to take out Allegro, and there's that window by Amino. Let's see if it's going to get them anything that they need here, 99%. They have to stay on this point. Effort getting close to that Annihilation. He needs to get that up to try to secure this point. Meek does have the Deadeye, but he's coming back from spawn right now. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to find anything. Annihilation is able to be popped, but he's so low on health, I'm not sure it's going to be availing. Vacano going to get the beat out and save his life. Meek going to find 2, 1 with the Deadeye, 1 the old-fashioned way, and now it's just Gooby and these dive supports, and they've turned the tables. They flipped the point. It's just Vacano who has to run away for now. Amino is back. The lamp is put out. Somehow the supports are surviving 99 to 99% on the point here. This is for this point entirely. The Mei is back from Ubels. He does have the Blizzard. Does he choose to invest it? He does. The Blizzard comes out. It's going to catch. Oh, the EMP. It's going to cancel the Blizzard. They did use the beat as well, so maybe a little bit of an overinvestment, but it is going to get Northern Illinois the point and go into match and series point.
Every single time Northwestern tries to have advantage on a fight, NIU just invests whatever ults they have and turn the fight. It's happened so many times that you'd think Northwestern would know that there may be ults that are just invested that no other team would even try to throw in at that point. We see Meek now go over to the Venture, and it immediately pays dividends as they kept Allegro out.
Yeah, Allegro gone, Osti gone. There's no DPS for the side of NIU. But this may be a story we've seen one too many times. Gooby is going to invest this Meteor Strike, going after the Lucio. Flip-Flop going to take down Ubels, and Meek going to fall as well. What looked like a good start here with the 2 DPS being taken out from NIU is going to avail the side of Northwestern nothing, as they're going to lose first control of the point, but maybe that's the play. We've seen them take the point first. The last 2 times they lose it. Now they're going to be down. They have to break through this, and maybe that's the start they need, and Allegro's gone.
I guess Allegro and the rest of NIU weren't expecting Meek and Ubel to be there at the choke to catch him when they tried to go in.
The pulse bomb. Okay, Lamp is taken out, but Aussie going to take down Ubel's. Good effort there. Effort going to pop the Nemesis form. Not able to stay alive very long. Meek, again, is the hero that the Red Raiders need, but it's not enough here. 50% and counting towards series point here.
Every single time the structure breaks down and things get chaotic, that's when Northwestern starts to lose their grip, regardless of whatever picks they get first. NIU seems to thrive in chaos.
Chaos is about the only word you can bring up about this, and here it is once again. Kitsune Rush going to be popped in the backline. Foot flop, and everybody else from the side of the Huskies is in there. The Tectonic Shock is thrown out by Meek and is going to find one. Amino going to take down Aussie as well. They are going to get to the point and they are going to flip it, but they are going to have to hold this the entire time. And not only do they have to reverse sweep the series, they have to start the reverse sweep with a reverse sweep in Flashpoint.
Luckily for them, they have the ult advantage going in, but against NIU, ult advantage means nothing if you can't just get those early picks and win the fight out.
And Meek almost gets caught out, able to get underground after that hack and escape a little bit there. But Allegro wants to press that fight once again. There are ultimates on both sides. It depends who's going to use it first. Nobody's using ultimates. There's the beat there from Vicano to try to stabilize this point out a little bit, but it may be all little too late. They need more ults here. Effort gets hacked by the EMP, isn't able to pop that. And it's over. I don't think anyone can touch. Meek is the closest one, and there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Your champions, your NIU Huskies, take the victory in the finals 4-0, much like their coach predicted.
Yeah, I guess I forgot. Was on to something with the finals. Every single time Northwestern had an advantage of space, had an advantage of ults, they were just hesitant to go first. Very rarely did we see Northwestern try and engage first with the ults, and NIU, regardless of if they were down both supports, both DPS, down 4 people, they would take the initiative and pop the ult first and somehow always win the fight. For Northwestern, it was a case of being hesitant to engage with ults and just being split when things got chaotic. They weren't moving as a team a lot of the time, and they weren't taking advantage of the space or the ult advantage they had. We saw there in the last fight, they had an ult advantage of 3 or 4 ults to only Gooby's Doom ult, and chose to just wait. And by the time they used their ults, they were already down 1 or 2 people because Gooby just engaged first. The reactive style of ult play doesn't really work when you're playing into a team that aggressive. By the time you try to react, you've already lost the fight, essentially.
You've lost the fight, and unfortunately, you've lost the series. It's the grand finals. They gave it their best shot. Northwestern not able to come up, but your NIU Huskies able to take the 4-0 victory. Very well deserved. The aggression paid off. They never let their foot off the gas. Just taped a cinder block down, ran over the side of the Red Raiders. But this has been a blast to be able to host these tournament games with you all. I've had a blast. I hope that we can come back in the future, because I think this team, they could go up to that next division, right? That's how this works. They won the division. Did they go up to the next one? Is that how it works?
I think the division ways, for the most part, to what I know, is up to the teams. They kind of pick where they want to go, because obviously I'm still learning the ins and outs of the NECC when it comes to how the structure works. But I mean, if I was NIU, after you win Division 6 Nationals, I would expect that the next step would be, let's go to Division 5 and see what kind of splash we're able to make. Staying in Division 6, where in the fall, you know, in the fall season, and then when they come into the playoffs, only dropping a single map, I feel like if I was the Huskies, staying in Division 6 and running it back for the next academic school year wouldn't really challenge the team at all. If you know you can basically just wipe the floor with the division, if you're doing a challenge and you're wanting to be able to improve, sticking around in the same division wouldn't really do you much good. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw NEU come in the 25-26 school year, move up into Division 5, or potentially Division 4 if they really want a challenge to see what kind of skills they can develop and what kind of competition can help them become better. But they've proven that they are the best of the best when it comes to Division 6 and the NECC.
show me all adventures I haven't seen. Taking all the life, it hits the spot. Walking on fantasy. So take me, baby, take me to a state of mind that's made of, baby, that's made of all that we find. We can test the waters, oh, it's hard. I think we're getting close. Racing through the waves, I want to be where nobody knows. So take me, baby, take me to a state of mind that's made of, baby, that's made of all that we find. Electric, feel it in your hands. Hypnotic, watch our bodies dance. Happiness, this is where we stand.
Take my hand and we'll go away to a different place. Float on air and we'll hide away. I'll be your escape. Look up and feel the shifting winds tossing us around again. Hold tight, get ready to begin and just levitate. again.